a research which was done almost 35 years ago. And this gentleman whom you're seeing on your screen now is actually a world famed cardiologist. His name is Dean Ornish, and he wrote this book on the subject of reversing heart disease, which he carried this research almost 35 years ago, as I shared with you. And this is in basically what he showed in this book was that in his research, when he was having patients, those who had heart ailments, especially those who had multiple angioplasties and sometimes even coronary bypass, and still they were not showing good measures as far as optimal medical treatment when they were receiving, but when they were subjected to yogic lifestyle, he was able to show to medical scientists and doctors that it was possible to reverse heart disease with a protocol based on yogic lifestyle. And when we say yogic lifestyle, it encompasses certain exercises, certain breath practices, meditation, certain diet. And today we are not going to go in all of those things, but I want to talk about one of the aspects of yogic lifestyle, because when we say in yoga, in yogic lifestyle, it's all about the right attitudes and the right ways of approaching life. And how do we do that? In one of the hallmarks of yoga is non-violence. If you see ahimsa, that they say. Now there are many ways in which we can understand non-violence. Violence sometimes we can do by actions, sometimes by speech, but even on a subtler level, violence can happen in thoughts and in feelings also. Now, just to give you an example, let us say if we are having a strong dislike for someone for one thing or the other, or sometimes even hateful thoughts, or sometimes thoughts of jealousy, or sometimes negative thoughts or unkind thoughts, or sometimes even when we are unforgiving to people, even that can be considered as a kind of violence. And if you see that over a period of time, not only it is going to affect that individual towards it is directed, but more so it is going to affect the person who is harboring those feelings. And this has been understood scientifically also, when they call it something called psycho-neuro endo-immunology axis, which is in short known as PNEI. Now, what is this PNEI? It basically means that whatever thoughts we process in our psyche, whatever feelings we have in our heart, they are directly responsible for what kinds of neurotransmitters which are going to be released from the brain. And these neurotransmitters are chemical messengers which also modulate what kind of hormones we have, and then ultimately they are going to affect our organ systems and our cellular machinery. Now, you can very well understand that this is a fascinating subject of what we call psycho-neuro-immuno-axis. And why we say immuno, because it affects directly our immunity also. But you can, friends, understand that if we are having these thoughts, unkind thoughts or unforgiving thoughts, to whatever degree they are coming and we are clinging on to them, they can have a damaging influence on our own bodies and our own cellular systems. And Dr. Aditya will be talking in greater detail about it, but I want to share with you a simple practice, how can we manage these and how can we have a feeling that yes, we can heal ourselves of these kind of emotions. Now, in order to forgive also, friends, we need strength, because forgiveness, as Gandhiji said, is not a weapon of a coward. It can only be done by someone who is very courageous. And we can only forgive when an underlying reality, when we know that there is an ocean of peace, a joy, and and always of this peace and joy ocean, which is always underneath us, always flowing at the same time. And when we are in contact with that source, then no bitterness can stay for too long. And even if you do not approach that person directly, but still in your heart, you will be able to forgive, thinking that yes, everybody is learning in this world and everybody has a right to make mistakes. And just like I have learned my lessons over so many years, who knows, maybe so many lifetimes, similarly, others are also learning. And you just let go of all those things. And in that instant, you feel so much lightness in your heart, and you feel that, a lot of burden has been taken away from you. So let us practice this very brief, meditation, which I'm going to share with you. Let us do this double breathing. Inhale through your nose, double. Exhale, double through your mouth. Again, couple of times. Now tense your bodies with all your body muscles. Take a deep breath. Tense all your body muscles from feet, legs, chest, abdomen, arms, shoulders. Hold the tension for a while and relax. Now just close your eyes. Feel yourself comfortably seated in your chair. And if your feet are touching the floor, just feel the strength of the ground, of the earth, that you're firmly grounded on the plane you are sitting on. Keep your spine straight. Keep your eyes closed. And let's do this even count breathing where I'm going to guide you. We will inhale to the count of 4, hold the breath to the same number of count, and then we will be exhaling, breathing out to the same number of count. Let's do it for 3 rounds. Let's start inhaling. Hold the breath. Breathe out. Breathe in. Hold the breath. Breathe out. Breathe in. Hold the breath. Breathe out. Now just do this at your own pace, keeping a mental count of 4, 4, 4. Now allow your breath to flow at its own pace. Do not control it, but just be attentive of how it is flowing through your nostrils, being sensitively aware of each breath as it comes inside the nose and then flows out. Try to feel inside the nose which part of the nostrils it touches and goes. Also try to feel if there is any temperature difference between the incoming breath and the outgoing breath. Let's follow our breaths for 2 minutes attentively. Keep your body still without moving. Try to keep your eyeballs also still. If you're feeling slowly peace trickling down into your heart, just enjoy this peace which is coming from that ocean which is flowing underneath you. Try to become more and more aware of this inner peace as your true reality. Now allow your heart to be free and open and feel as if there is a light emerging from your heart, and slowly this white light expanding, increasing in intensity, is glowing around in larger circles. See it expanding around you in the room you're sitting. Allow this to expand in ever widening circles. Allow this light to touch every family member, your friends, relatives, and see them feeling the same peace as you are feeling now. Circle of light to touch anyone for you, for any reason, if you were not able to forgive, making mistakes, give him that right, just like we all have learned from making our own mistakes. Now see this light touching his or her heart and giving him the same peace as you are feeling in your heart now. And send him a lot of friendly blessings from your heart. That, dear friend, I love you. May God give you enlightenment, blessings to understand this life with greater clarity. And may you find the same joy that we all are seeking. So see him smiling, glowing with the same light. Now you can take a deep breath through your nose. Breathe out, feeling as if you are inhaling this light, which is rejuvenating your heart. One more. And exhale out all that negativity and tiredness by breathing out. One more time. Breathe in and breathe out. Now you can slowly open your eyes. So, friends, that was a very small exercise, and I would encourage you to, in fact, do it at your own place for more duration. And please share your experience, and I'll hand it over to Dr. Aditya.
Thank you, Amar. Good evening to everybody from my side too. So, friends, as perhaps you saw, the subject for this evening is the wonders of the human body. And if one of you or any of you are new, my name is Aditya. I'm a doctor from a surgical background. I was pursuing my degree in surgery so many years ago. And Amar is a physician. And we became friends many years ago and have shared this common, you might say, interest in just seeing people healthy, happy. Our focus is more on preventive health. But then also we have pondered over subjects of spirituality, the nature of death, you might say, through the teachings especially of Sanatan Dharma, Christianity, and as brought by Paramhansa Yogananda ji. And how shall I say, understand the full picture. You know, anytime we have a problem, let's say it's a headache or it's a stomach ache, you say, what's going on? And then somebody would say, well, why don't you just get the whole body investigated, get your head investigated, and then we can be at rest. Similarly, friends, we only wish it all worked out just through the human body, the physical body, I mean. But the yogis say there is more. Of course, they can declare it because it is their experience. But you and I can read some, we can reflect some, and sometimes these questions come in our mind, which today's subject is more like a teaser. And we will continue in this vein in the next Tuesday also about the wonders of the body. His book, Art and Science of Raja Yoga. And he's quoting the words over here of Saint Augustine. Men travel to gaze upon mountain heights and the waves of the sea, broad flowing rivers, spans of the ocean, and the courses of the stars, and pass by themselves the crowning wonder. That it's very clear over there that centuries ago, St. Augustine had realized, and of course, you read his life, some of his spiritual perceptions, they're just as described in the treatises of yoga, that there is something going on, you might say, beneath the flesh, behind the physical form. Call it the power of thought, call it the power of moving of energy, that so many times, especially in these days, very fortunately, we read extracts practically every day. If you look for it, you'll find it in one or the other newspaper or magazine, that somebody was practicing yoga or meditation or some form of energy healing, Reiki, pranic healing, divine will healing, so many kinds, and they witnessed something. Now, yes, people call it the placebo effect. Well, what's wrong with that? It's wonderful if somebody is healed just by a positive statement from somebody or their own thinking or imagination. But as long as it remains clear to us how, or is there a structured way in which such healing might happen, then it makes it all the more beautiful, because then universally people can practice it. And the one category of people, call it spiritual, the saints, if we call them spiritual doctors, they are humanity, that there is a lot going on behind our physical form. And those were the things which were troubling me very much as a young doctor. I would see somebody pass away. Relatives are totally inconsolable, rightly so, because you think I've lost my father, mother, brother forever. And it is shattering. If you think I want to, let's explore it further and see. And then I want to read further. Kriyanandaji writes another beautiful, amusing paragraph over here. What a puny thing seems man, a cut on the what mighty efforts he must sometimes expend merely to open the honey jar, and how frantically the slightest turn in the weather sends him running to turn up the heat or the air conditioner. Amid a universe of wonders, he rejoices only that his baldness is less advanced than that of a few of his neighbors. Faced with tragedy in the lives of others, his first, perhaps his only thought is to be annoyed. And I want to read on from another beautiful book which I'm still reading, and this is by Bill Bryson, The Body. And I found some interesting and hair-raising statistics over here. I thought I'll share them with you, that you may also enjoy these. First of all, now this is a thought we all know. It's not written in the book, but in some way it is implied. But my age is now about 30. Invisible cell in my mother's womb. Now, of course, as we measure each other, weigh or account for in medical files, people would note down my height, my body weight, how my heart is beating, how I'm breathing, and all that is good. It is absolutely relevant. I'm functioning on that level. But isn't it amazing? Just like perhaps you wondered looking at a tree and then finding those innumerable seeds down there and thinking, oh, each of this seed can become this grand tree, out of many more seeds can come. But think the same thing about yourself. A tiny, invisible cell. How much energy, intelligence, even if it's on a physical plane, let's say in our thinking to begin with, on the DNA level, there must be, for it to become a moving, talking, feeling, happy, sometimes not so happy being. And today, exploring such ideas and thinking that there was a lot going on in that tiny little physical cell. Well, here are some more statistics from this book. Since I said the word book, our body has produced more than 1 million RBCs, red blood cells. And since I said red blood cells the last time, another 1 million have been produced in your body. Give a little bit more pause, and another 1 million red blood cells have been produced in all of our bodies. Such a machinery going on without us feeling it. Then This book says the length of our blood vessels, each human adult body's blood vessels, if you add them end to end, you could go over the equator 2.5 times. Okay, we all know we have DNA in each cell. We have about 37 trillion cells in our body. And each cell has a DNA which is 1 meter long, but it's all crammed in that little, again, invisible to the eye cell inside its nucleus especially. And again, out of our sight completely. But if we joined all the DNA in all the body cells, it could take each of us across Pluto. Here I want to read something, of course, we are facing this very challenging pandemic, but here are some lines about microbes. Bill Bryson says, what can be said about microbes is that you, as you sit here now, you are likely to have some 40,000 species of microbe calling you home. 900 in your nostrils, 800 more on your inside cheeks, 1,300 species next door on your gums, as many as 36,000 different species in your gastrointestinal tract. Though such numbers must constantly be adjusted as new discoveries are made, and on the list goes. I will share some of this next time, but here's a thought, friends. Has this not happened to all of us? You're sitting in a relaxed moment, and this is important. Physical and mental relaxation is important for this, just like Amar guided us. And your body is relaxed, your mind is relaxed, you have no worries on you. And you're thinking of someone, perhaps a relative or a friend. And just in that moment, they call you. And perhaps you haven't spoken to them for a year or months at least. In that moment, and the person says, oh, I was just thinking about you. Or you bump into them in the supermarket. Or your relative or parent calls in that moment saying, I was also thinking about you. Or sometimes it's more dramatic. They say, you came in my dream. Or I was feeling, yet you're not feeling well. And that's exactly what you were feeling, whether it's a headache or a fever or whatever. And you wonder, thousands of kilometers are separating us. How is this working out? So again, it's food for thought. We have the physical reality of our body. But again, next time we'll explore, perhaps it is prana, the energy currency flowing through us. Perhaps there is a thought reality over there. And then what do the yogis say? How can we respect each level, take care of each level, and then become familiar, you might say, beyond this physical form? I find these things, I've been thinking about them for years. And each time I find some time and I start exploring this, it is a thrilling concept. So please join me and Amar in this journey over the next few weeks as we explore this subject. We'll see you on next Tuesday. Keep thinking. And if you have any questions, please send them in the chat section and we'll be happy to address it next time. Good night.